It's when you're using those accounts as a bank, that's when it gets sticky. So if someone pays you through Venmo, you want to deposit all that money into your business bank account right away. So that way you don't use some of it and then deposit some of it and you miss some of the sale and you miss some of the expense. Welcome to the Know Your Worth show, where we teach you how to think about your money differently so that you can achieve your sexy money goals. I'm Sydney, your money maven and owner of Know Your Worth.
And I'm Kristen, Sid's dime piece bestie, team member, and busy mama of twins, here to make sure that those of us without a financial degree can still level up with each episode. Let's get started on reaching your next goal.
Hello, welcome to the Know Your Worth podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Sydney, your money maven.
I am Sid's dime piece bestie and executive assistant and friend and all the things.
Doer of all the things.
Doer of all the things.
And we are in episode 24 of the Know Your Worth podcast. Thank you for listening along. Today, we're going to talk about, as a business owner, when you are using Venmo or PayPal for your business, some of the things to think about that could be red flags that you just want to make sure that you are being mindful of.
Oh, awesome. I use both. Should you pick one or the other?
No, you can use either one. And personally, I prefer to not use either one because there are a lot of benefits to using PayPal and Venmo for different situations. It's mostly that whenever you're using them, a lot of the times PayPal is very much used so that you can protect your spending and your card information. If you're purchasing from not the safest websites or the safest sources, PayPal can protect you so that you are not giving away your direct card information. It's like another barrier. Venmo can be the same way. So they're not bad choices per se, but the record keeping can get sticky.
Okay, awesome. So maybe we should talk about some benefits and some downfalls that you see every day with your clients.
Yeah. Biggest benefits for PayPal and Venmo are absolutely convenience. It is so easy to use Venmo. Everybody is really very attuned to Venmo now. Almost everybody has it on their phone or a version of it, whether it's Zelle, Cash App. When I say Venmo, I'm really meaning any of those kind of like cash transfer apps. The convenience is the main thing. A lot of the clients that I see that use Venmo are the ones that are at craft shows or they're at vendor fairs or they're selling their retail product quickly and they have a little sign that says Venmo us and you can just scan the QR code and Venmo them right from there. The other way that I would see it is payments to contractors. So if they have some of the wedding vendors or the florists or any of them, if they have people that are just doing kind of one-off deliveries for them, things like that, they're doing quick Venmo payments to pay their people. And again, if they're contractors, that's fine. But where the convenience can be a downfall is on the record keeping side. Now, both PayPal and Venmo link to QuickBooks, and I'm going to talk specifically with QuickBooks Online here. So if you're using another bookkeeping software, it might not be the exact same process, but for the most part, you can still connect them. The downfalls are the record keeping side. Like I said, you can connect them to QuickBooks, but you want to make sure that it is solely for business when you're connecting them to QuickBooks. If you are connecting your Venmo to your business QuickBooks and you have lots of personal transactions in and out, your friends paid you for the dinner you paid for them, then you buy something with that Venmo money and it's a personal charge and all of that's being linked to your business account, it's a lot more data that you have to go through to make sure it stays clean. On the other side, if you don't connect it and you get paid through Venmo and you have those funds in there and you don't transfer them right away to your business bank account and you use those funds for personal purchases or business purchases, you need to make sure that that gets recorded as a sale and then also as an expense or as an owner draw.
And how many people just totally skip that?
Exactly. On a record keeping side, Venmo is often not as clean as we'd like it to be. PayPal can be similar, but I do believe that most people are cleaner with their PayPal than they are with Venmo. At least from the experience of my clients, people that utilize PayPal for their business, they typically have a separate PayPal business account.
That's what I was going to ask you. Yeah. It feels like PayPal shows up in a tux and Venmo shows up in like jeans.
Yeah. And like the jeans, you're like, oh, it's so comfy. That's where I want to be. Like, I'm going to use that one because it's so easy and quick and comfortable. PayPal's like also cute, but like Venmo's right here and I'm going to use that one.
So what if you did all your personal stuff in Venmo and all of your business stuff in PayPal and just linked your PayPal to QuickBooks?
Absolutely. That's totally fine. And you might not use either one for your business, and that's completely fine too. For our bookkeeping business, sometimes we'll make a purchase from a PayPal account, but I don't keep funds in my PayPal account. So it pulls right from my bank account.
Right.
So that's fine. If it does that, that's totally fine. It's when you're using those accounts as a bank, that's when it gets sticky. So if someone pays you through Venmo, you want to deposit all that money into your business bank account right away. So that way you don't use some of it and then deposit some of it and you miss some of the sale and you miss some of the expense.
It's so tempting. I'm just going to leave this.
Well, it feels like free money.
Yeah, it does.
It feels like free money. Yeah, it feels free. And so it can be that you can keep it that way. If it's only for business, then you can connect it like it's a bank account. And you'll see all those transactions.
Okay.
Does that make sense? I feel like I'm talking a little bit quickly right now.
No, it totally makes sense. So I'm wondering, like, you're doing end of the year wrap up for tons of businesses right now. So how many are you running into this a lot?
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of the time what we see is that we are then combing through Venmo accounts and we don't know what's personal and what's business. So then the clients that we're working with end up having to do a lot of their own bookkeeping at that point for those transactions, because we have to say, okay, these are all the Venmo transactions that came up in your QuickBooks. Are they business or are they personal? Do you remember who you paid? And they're like, well, I don't know. And so then we have to say, okay, can you export your Venmo transaction list? It's not the best file to export, probably because I think they want you to have a business account for Venmo and then they do reporting. But if you have a personal Venmo account, the reporting is a lot more limited.
Oh, so you can get a business Venmo and a personal Venmo.
Yep. Wow. But the business Venmo, they charge you fees. The personal Venmo, they don't.
So who would do that? Well, I guess PayPal does that too, because you pick friends and family or goods and services.
And if you are paying through your Venmo account for business and you pay someone more than $600 throughout the year, Venmo is also issuing that 1099 for you automatically.
Oh, well, that's nice.
Yeah, it is.
What's with when you get an email that like you've been approved for a Venmo credit card or what are those?
So those aren't necessarily the worst options. Everybody's credit is different. Everybody's options are different. Whenever you get approved for things like that, it's because they see the money coming in and out of the account. So they're thinking, oh, they're getting funds. They're not a terrible risk because they're receiving money. Gotcha. So they're willing to give you financing because they already see the cash flow coming in. So they think that you can afford debt through them. So they're willing to give you that credit card or they're willing to give you that loan. Apple Pay is another one. They'll do Apple loans. And then there's also PayPal will do loans too. And then QuickBooks will give you loans too. I get a lot of emails now through the Golf Academy that we're pre-approved for a QuickBooks loan because they see the funds that are coming through. They're willing to offer you financing. It's not the worst thing.
Do you have people that you have to sort through their Apple Pay?
Yeah.
Really? What's that like? Is it convenient?
It's not that bad because if it's connected to the card, it typically comes through the same way. It just is a pull on the card because their Apple Pay doesn't necessarily operate like a bank account.
Yeah, gotcha.
But if they have financing with them, then it operates more like a loan and we have to look at those transactions. But for the PayPal and the Venmo, basically what it boils down to is if you're using PayPal and Venmo like a bank account, keep it separate like it's a business bank account. Only use it for business. Create another account for personal if you have personal and business. If you're using it like a bank account, connect it to QuickBooks and make sure it's mostly business transactions so it's clean for you to go through or for your bookkeeper to go through. If you're not using it as a bank account, it still is nice to keep it clean so you're not intermingling funds. But if that's the case, it's not so bad because it's pulling directly from your bank account or it's depositing directly into your bank account because you're transferring those funds right away. So that's kind of the
all documented.
Exactly. And it's just clean. One of our big red flags that we got from a client is that they do invoicing through QuickBooks. Their accounts receivable is in QuickBooks, but they accept payment through Venmo. But they don't have their Venmo connected because it's a personal Venmo account. So people will pay them. They'll allow customers to pay them through Venmo, but then they'll go into QuickBooks and they'll mark the whole invoice as paid, but then they don't deposit that money into their bank account.
So then QuickBooks doesn't recognize that it's actually reconciled.
Yes, because it's never come into their bank account. So it shows up as undeposited funds, which I know we've done a lovely episode on that undeposited funds. So it increases their undeposited funds and it basically says you're holding on to this money. We haven't seen it come into the bank. And that's true. So what you would need to do is if you use that money from your Venmo, you need to record that transaction and say, the undeposited funds goes down and either own or draw. I took the money and I used it on personal stuff, or I used the money on business expenses. Well, what did you use it on? Did you buy supplies? Did you repair something?
Right.
Did you pay for advertising? So put that undeposited funds back down and then record the entry for what you did buy. And that levels it right out. And that's fine. That happens a lot.
Yeah.
But you need to make sure you record that or else the undeposited funds goes up. And it's like, where is all this money?
Where is all their money though?
It depends on what they used it for. This client that we have, they were paid through Venmo and they took the money and they put it in their personal bank account. So their undeposited funds went up. Their accounts receivable was cleared. It looked like their client paid them. But then we never saw that cash deposited into the bank because they just deposited into their personal account, almost like a paycheck for themselves.
Is that allowed?
Oh, okay. But we just need to record it then and say, yes, that sales happened. We're going to remove the undeposited funds.
And then it was an owner draw. Oh man, I feel like I just learned the rules to a card game.
You did it. Debits and credits.
It just clicked.
Yes, you got it.
24 episodes and here I am.
Kristen's going to be hired as a full-time bookkeeper in the next month.
I'm ready. I got my degree, my podcast
degree.
Yeah.
So those are the primary pieces that we like to explain to our clients when they use PayPal or Venmo. Is there are big positives, but there are also just things to be aware of so that you don't make it stickier than it needs to be.
Gotcha. It's like having a business and personal card, like one step up above that.
Yes.
Yeah. In terms of what you have to do to keep it straight.
Exactly. And a lot of people utilize Venmo and they think that they don't need to report that income because it's like separate or secret or
like under the table.
Yeah. It's like under the table
but
money.
It's not.
It's not. It shouldn't be. Sometimes it is. And I understand that. I know how businesses operate. I'm not the IRS, so I'm not going to smack your hand if you're doing it. But I will say what you just want to make sure is that your records are clean. For example, if you're a hairdresser, this happens with hairdressers and I think nail salons all the time. And it's one of the reasons why Venmo has implemented some of these business policies because they want to track how much money you're receiving. They want you to use the business account. Right. And that's why your hairstylists and your nail salons, they say, don't put a memo in there. Just put an emoji. Don't say it's tips or don't say it's thanks for the service.
Right.
Because Venmo's looking for those. They don't want to have to pay taxes on them. I understand that that's what happens sometimes. I'm not blind. I'm not the stickler for it. I get it. It is what it is. And that's fine. You do you, but know the implications of it. You are the one that's liable in the end if you're not reporting all of your income. You just need to make sure your books are accurate. So if you're somebody that has invoices and you're collecting through Venmo and you're marking those invoices as paid, but you're not depositing the money in, your books are incorrect. You need to make sure that you're categorizing that as then an owner draw and you are recording the transaction appropriately. And again, if you're pocketing some of that money, that's on you. You just need to know what the implications are should anything ever come up and what you would need to do to remedy the situation so that you know what you're doing. It's always better to be informed and to know the risks associated with it, that if you're not reporting all of your income, you're
jail time.
Bars. That's it. That's not true.
Hope you look great
not necessarily true.
Just joking.
Fines on fines. I'm just kidding. Not that either. Not necessarily. But it's just something you want to make sure you are opening the door for negative implications for yourself and for your business. So you just want to make sure that you are well versed in what you need to do and how to keep that clean.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And a lot of businesses don't use PayPal or Venmo at all, and that's fine. There's no problem with that. You're not missing anything. It's just a tool. Again, I use PayPal if I'm buying something that I don't trust the website or the source where it's coming from. It's a nice intermediary than giving somebody your account and routing information to deposit if you're not sure.
You know when I use PayPal?
When
I'm cuddled up on the couch and I'm online shopping and there's no way I'm going to walk over to my wallet and get my card.
Yes.
There's just no way.
It's the best. I agree.
If that option is there, then you get my sale. If that option is not there, you do not get my sale.
Yep.
I am lazy.
My Know Your Worth debit card has been in a different wallet for the past month and a half. This is some of my ADHD coming out right here. I will admit this. I went to an event that I had my Know Your Worth card and I packed a different wallet with my ID and my Know Your Worth debit card. And it is still in that separate wallet in a different room in my house. And I haven't used it. I haven't swiped that card in a month and a half.
Maybe that's the secret to saving money.
But then there's PayPal.
PayPal.
And Apple Wallet is amazing.
Yeah.
So whenever I've gone out to a client meeting and I go to reach and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't have this card. Do you accept Apple Pay? Yes. Wonderful. Double click. Yeah, they're great tools for that. And PayPal, it's great. Again, you can check out a lot of the times online with those. It definitely saves me a lot, especially this past month and a half where I have left the card somewhere else.
I'm going to try that trick.
We all have
our ways.
Yeah. And mine is, this is one of mine.
Perfect. Mark that down, guys.
But
Don't say we never gave you any tips.
The bookkeeping is all correct.
Mm-hmm. There you go. All right. Well, that was
awesome.
That was a quick and dirty episode.
Yeah.
But that was great tips. And
absolutely.
Stuff to be aware of.
Exactly. Do you have any further questions on your PayPal or Venmo, or how to make sure that they're categorized appropriately, or you've gotten yourself in a bit of a pickle by not keeping things organized? Give us a shout out. We can help you out and clean everything up.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah. All right. And on the next episode, we're going to talk about reconciling those accounts. And if you have them connected to QuickBooks, you should be reconciling your PayPal accounts as well. And Venmo if you're using it like that. So
check out next week.
Stay tuned.
Bye, guys.
If you found a bit of inspiration in this episode for achieving your sexy money goals, click the subscribe button on your favorite podcast app or YouTube so that you never miss an episode.